I have a confession. I do not like sharing. From the time I was a child to now. Specifically, when I was about 5 or 6, a family member asked if they could have some of my food. And I probably looked at her like she just asked me for a vital organ. After about a few minutes, when she realized that I wasn't going to answer her in the affirmative, she said that she was just kidding. And looking back on it, she probably just wanted to see what I would say, whether or not I was good at sharing. Fast forward to adulthood, I still don't like sharing my food that much, but I will go and get you your own. Even if it's, not from my plate, I will share food in that sense. But now I struggle to share myself, particularly the art that I create. I have drives full of finished product, whether it's music, writing, or photography. But what good is the product if no one knows that you have the product? It's an age-old question. Does art matter if you don't share it? Surprisingly, the art that I have the most difficulty sharing are the arts that I have the most formal training in: writing and photography. I took 2 or 3 years of photography in high school and learned how to develop film and go through all those processes and learn digital photography and all of that. And my dad at one point was a phenomenal event photographer and portrait photographer. And I learned some things from him as well, even though he probably thinks that I wasn't paying attention. But everything that he touches is gold. In writing, I have a whole bachelor's degree in creative writing. And even though I was praised for my talent by my peers and teachers alike, there's just something that has prevented me from sharing. I Want to Be Great or Nothing, from Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. The character who says this is also struggling with her artistic value and ability, and whether or not taking art classes is useful, because while she agrees that she's a good artist, she's not great. She feels that she's lacking genius. In my quest to find fun and enjoyment, I've remembered that I really like taking pictures, whether they're just simply for documentation or if they're more artistic. But I share the sentiment of that character from Little Women, specifically surrounding photography. I want to be great or nothing. I know that I'm good, but what's the point if I'm not great? And when it's all said and done, I know that's my perfectionistic tendencies speaking. There are times, however, when I have been forced to share my art, my music, and my photography. In photography, sometimes people randomly ask me to take pictures of their event. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to take pictures at a baby shower. And I've done a couple in the past, and I have another one scheduled for September. Not a baby shower, but an event. And I look at the pictures and I say, these are good. They're good, but they're not great. I have so many photos from my travels and from experiences that I've had. And some of them, in my estimation, are great photos. Some of them are good, but I haven't shared them because I want all of them to be great. When it comes to photography or even just art that's been created in general, but if I take a picture and it's simply for documentation or for my own personal memory bank, does it matter if it's shared or not? I don't think it does, because it was simply just for me. That was the purpose of it. But sometimes there's an urge, there's a nudge, there's a push to share, a push because there is something to say. You have something to say with your art. I have something to say with my art. And if that's the case, it should be shared. It's like the parable of the talents. 2 servants multiplied their talents, and one of them buried it and lost everything. Which one will I be? Which one will you be? Am I going to multiply or lose everything? Again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in proportion to their abilities. He then left on his trip. The servant who received the 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. The servant with 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more. But the servant who received the 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money. After a long time, their master returned from his trip and called them to give an account of how they had used his money. The servant to whom he had entrusted the 5 bags of silver came forward with 5 more and said, "Master, you gave me 5 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 5 more." The master was full of praise. "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." The servant who had received the 2 bags of silver came forward and said, "Master, You gave me 2 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 2 more." The master said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." Then the servant with the 1 bag of silver came and said, "Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here is your money back." But the master replied, "You wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I would have gotten some interest on it." Then he ordered, "Take the money from this servant and give it to the one with the 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away."